Okay. Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review, episode 185. This reviewing the 150th episode of the series, Tools. Yep, this one adapts from pretty much the rest of chapter 18, pages 28 to 41, and it kind of goes partially into chapter 21. Roughly the first, 9 pages of the chapter. Well, they stop page 9. Yep. Now, this basically mostly put this episode and set on one location. Though we do have a brief cut to for some original content, mostly a little bit of stuff with Karma. Let's start with that, where we have basically Delta at the car headquarters, where it's like, I want to try my new maintenance, and then of course we have a pillar being dropped on her, and it turns out it's said by Code. Yes, the guy's name is Code, and I believe this guy is an original character. So, he thinks that she's a traitor because she's basically making excuses. And Amaro's like, no, neither one of you are traitors. And the most suspicious ones are probably Baro Kanji. Kanji's on a mission, Baro just simply doesn't want to do it. Yeah. It's an interesting scene, and of course they always mention, how about you? Are you the traitor? It's like, nah. If I was a traitor, I wouldn't be basically acting this too suspicious. At a point, though, he does do some interesting later on in the manga. And that's it for the Kara stuff. Meanwhile, though, at the Team 7 headquarters, in this abandoned tower, there's no purpose for this tower at all. In the manga, they don't really explain when the heck they got here. Excuse me, it's presumed after Ao killed Moguro. Yeah, he killed him. He's definitely dead. He's gone. And he's not coming back. I get the reason why that... Well, here's the thing. He first showed up in the car actuation arc. That's when he first showed up in the anime. Which did a lot for his character because he was basically like a blank slate in the manga. In the manga, he was just some random guy that Konohama would just have me paired up with. The anime did a lot more with this character. And, well, at least they kept his death basically here. So, bye-bye, Muguro. Not to be seen again. The most of this episode is simply them chatting what they got to do next. They need to figure out exactly what to do, and of course, well, they do have Konohama show off his, mostly put on the last episode would actually got a really important scene from the manga. Here, mostly everything is here. Nothing really much has changed, well, aside from the fact that Sadara is wearing a completely different attire than she was wearing in the manga. Aside from that, there's not really much change here. Which, here's my opinion, I've heard the anime outfit that she wears over the outfit she wears in the Boruto manga. Why? Because it looks better on her. That's my opinion. And at least, here's the thing. There was this portion of the Mugen Bandits arc where she's wearing kunai in her bedroom. In the manga, she was doing that in her underwear. I think the people who behind the episode, I pointed out back then, still believe this now, they must have saw that scene yeah, this is a completely unnecessary. We'll put her clothes back on. We're not having her throwing kunai in her underwear for no reason at all. Which I believe that was a very appropriate change. And I do appreciate though that they basically just have her wear the anime outfit in the episode, despite the fact this is not what she's wearing in the manga. Aside from that, mostly everybody is mostly the same, per se. And of course, they chat basically about, what was revealed after the events of the Chunin exam arc, where this had both of the anime and the manga, where it was revealed that Kozuki was put in her jutsu. Who put her in her jutsu? It's hinted that it's Ao. Now, they do fix in this episode an actual printing error that happened in the manga, believe it or not. Yes, because Konohamaru mistakes Ao as a bodyguard for the 4th Mazakage, even though that he wasn't. He was bodyguard for the 5th. And it's very good the fact that the anime fixed that printing error. Yeah, that was a printing error. On the part when the chapter was released about 4 years ago, I think it was. Yeah, it was about 4 years ago it was released. And they say he was the bodyguard for the previous Mazakage, not the 4th one. Which, that's great the fact they fixed that, because that was probably a problem for a lot of people when they read that chapter originally. So, of course, he details what happened. The fact that this whole thing is actually his fault because he leaked info, and of course, they mentioned some stuff happened during the Chunin exam arc. He says he's partially to blame what happened there, and Boruto comes to the conclusion that even though he originally hated ninja tools after the events of the Chunin exam, but after what he experienced back at his lab, he felt very happy, very much excited, had a lot of fun with them, and he would continue having fun. So he basically, now they do make a slight change here. The gauntlet he wears basically is slightly different because in the manga there's a little bit of like a little hook on it in the actual manga itself. In the anime, it's not there. It kind of reminds me of the gauntlet that was used for, let's see, what was the, it was a, there's actually an American cartoon that actually has a character who's got these big humongous gauntlets. The only series I can think of, I mean, yes, there's basically, the most obvious one is Azrael, who's got one like this, except he's got spikes on his. The most obvious one I can think of, when I think of gauntlets like this, and the outfit is very much heavily inspired, and this is my opinion, from the main character from the Disney cartoon show Mighty Ducks. Yeah, it's very similar attire he wears. Yeah, the symbol may be different, but it's the same outfit. Same gauntlets, same basically shoulder pad type outfit. Yeah, it's a very similar attire. And I'm surprised no one's ever pointed this out. I mean, I was thinking about it basically, watching it again and reading the manga. I'm like, did Boruto rip up Mighty Ducks? Those of you curious what I'm talking about, one of the characters to show who was the lead of the Mighty Ducks, not the originally, because originally got killed off in the pilot episode. This guy basically became the team's goalie. Yeah, in this show, basically, this team became this group of characters who are ducks from Duck World, kind of like Howard the Duck. When they came there, they had this duck jet they brought with them. It was the only vehicle of their kind. They also had a duck, like land vehicle as well, which they actually built there. And they're based out of, basically, Anaheim, like the real-life Mighty Ducks are. The only difference is that the real-life team, talking about 20, 30 players, this team is comprised of about 10 people. And they're all ducks. All, like, one female and all male members. And he basically, and the goalie wore this special mask, which rumor has is that the actual goalie of the Mighty Ducks actually wore this mask as a goalie mask for quite a while before it switched to a regular mask. But the outfit is very much heavily inspired by that. That's just my opinion anyways. So they basically upgraded the actual gauntlet. And then, of course, he basically said, okay, we need something to take out his power. So let's use the lightsaber. Which I do appreciate they actually kept it. The fact that he actually collapses after having it on for less than 30 seconds. Because, yeah, the Boruto, just like in the manga, Boruto kind of forgot the fact that, man, this thing zaps your chakra really quickly. You can say, yeah, that's definitely true. I did worry about it at the lab, so they formulated a plan to deal with AO. Okay, perfectly fine. Originally, Konohama was... Now, they actually added this bit in where Konohama wanted to use himself as bait, but Boruto talking about he basically be the bait along with Kisuke. Now, this scene, I appreciated keeping this in. This happened actually during, like, just before they actually ended the actual chapter itself. They kind of, in the way, put this just before that, before they actually ended the episode, where you have Ao looking in the woods, looking for Team 7, and he comes to us, Koji Kanchan. And it talks about basically that he's no longer a shinobi, the light behind him, and he's just a tool for science. And, like, okay, it's like flip the switch off and just basically go on a killing spree. Basically setting up the next week's episode, which is getting close to wrapping up this arc, which, yeah, in case you're curious about the arc itself, it wrapped up with chapter 23. I'm hoping at some point they actually put in that scene they actually skipped over from last week. I still do not get why they cut that scene out. Because it was basically hinting at, in the manga this was hinting at, that's the Sumriha thing for Boruto. In the anime, they cut up the scene for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but they did. It's quite stupid. Maybe they might include it in the finale? It's distinctly possible. Who knows? It all depends on when this thing actually ends. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. Next review, got 2 comic covers, 2 digital, and 2... next one will be... first comic cover will be 2 digital trades, next one will be 2 physical trades. See you on the next video, okay? See you next video. Bye.